All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Angelica. Welcome to Divergence Academy's very first, nope, I lied, third Meet the Advisor webinar. Again, my name is Angelica. I will be your host tonight. My role here at Divergence is normally a career readiness manager. So I'm normally, getting my hands dirty with the cohorts, helping them prepare for their transition into IT. Before starting here at Divergence, I was a veteran. I served in the Army. I was a 25 November. So I served as a nodal network systems maintainer and operator, but in layman's terms, network administrator. However, my contract was ended up being with a air defense unit. So mainly handling UHF and VHF communications, sending, reports up to higher echelon, just to, give them a status of, what was going on. But for tonight, again, I will be your host and we will be introducing you to advisors from each department. But before we begin, there are a few housekeeping rules that I would like you guys to keep in mind. All questions are going to be addressed at the end of our webinar. So we'll have about 10 to 15 minutes of Q&A. Second thing, if you just notice the screen change, we do have polls. They are interactive. The more interactive you guys are with us, the more information that we can provide for you, after this and in the future. So if you want to go ahead and answer the question right there, are you a military veteran or civilian? Feel free to answer. Again, welcome to our military and welcome to our civilian audiences. All right. Now, a few things that we are going to be going over. Again, we're going to be introducing you to an advisor from each department, going over the most in-demand jobs in the industry and give you a sneak peek of the actual jobs and salaries that are from our students and alumni. Going over, our different immersive programs here that we have offered at Divergence, letting you know about, the Divergence experience from our not alumni, but from our instructors and our staff. Helping you decide, why you should choose Divergence. Again, answering your Q&As, 10 to 15 minutes at least towards the end, and letting you know next steps. Which also does remind me, if you guys are not able to stay for the very end, at the bottom of your screen, you'll see find a time to meet with ... an advisor. You guys can actually schedule an appointment with us to speak with our admissions team to go ahead and answer all of those questions. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. So tonight, our advisors, we have our student success advisor, Albert. We have one of our data science instructors here, Drew Minkin. This is actually the first MTA where we do have a data science instructor here. So you are extremely lucky, if you are interested in hearing about more about data science. He's going to be your guy. The next advisor we are going to have is Ashley. Ashley, she works as a student success advisor over on the career readiness side. And last but not least, we also have Anna. She is our marketing operations advisor. So that's our panel for tonight. And again, if you guys have any questions for anybody in particular, go ahead and drop it in the chat and we'll address them at the end. All right, so if you are thinking about pursuing a job in the tech field, we're going to go over, these roles that are highly in demand. But before we do, go ahead and drop a 1 into the chat if you are new to IT. Go ahead and drop a 2 into the chat if you're already in the field, and 3 if you're looking to upskill. And if you want to add, what kind of training you're looking for, go ahead and put that in. But for right now, let's go ahead and move on So here we have, data and statistics that are going to be introduced to you, 4 job titles. We've gone ahead and done our research on these. So grab a pen and paper, depending on if you're interested in one of these, all of these, not really sure which route you want to go down, go ahead and take some notes. So the first thing that we're going to talk about tonight is our artificial intelligence specialist. So according, to LinkedIn, there is going to be an increase of about 74% of job growth for AI specialist. The second one is going to be a cybersecurity specialist. So if you're into, like IT networking, or, wanting to get into pen testing, learning more about that, job growth with it from 2020 to 2030 is going to be about 33%, right? The next one is going to be our data scientist. 11.5 million new jobs by 2026. So not too far away. But yeah, if that's something that you're interested in, being able to collect a bunch of data, turning it into useful information, that could be something to get into. For those of you that have heard about the cloud, don't really know about the cloud, that's okay. A lot of opportunity here, as there has been $800 billion dumped into the industry, and that's expected to be valued, or that's where it's expected to be valued by 2025. So if you're interested in getting into cloud, IoT devices, that could be something for you. Now let's talk about different career paths that are offered here at Divergence. Here right in front of you are our 4 immersive programs. And if you go ahead and look underneath, I'm not going to get too in depth about each job title, but if you find something that you think is interesting to you, go ahead and jot it down in the program that it goes with. But the 4 we have is our cybersecurity professional penetration tester, our data science immersive, our security operations immersive program, and our cloud engineering immersive program as well. So these 4 programs are about 400 hours, not death by PowerPoint. Thankfully, you're going to get a lot of hands-on training, a lot of labs, a lot to take away with you once you graduate the program. But again, this is what I was talking about in the beginning. These job titles are actual job titles that are obtained by our students and alumni. And right below it, those are the actual salaries. Now, you may see some that are, a little bit higher or lower than the others, or it may be a pretty big range, but just keep in mind, if you are on the look for a job or in the market, a few things to just take away, right, is salary, of course, but if the salary isn't compensated as high as you would like, it may be due to a few different things, like location, or it could be benefits, right? I know a lot of people are interested in remote locations that can be, kind of have an effect on the salary. But again, just to keep in mind, things to look forward to when you are on the job hunt, and some data to take away from tonight. So now that we've talked a little bit about our programs, a recap of what we have gone over and what we are going to go over. I introduced you, or gave you the names of the advisors. I let you know about the most in-demand jobs now and in the future. Gone over a little bit about our programs, and what you see is the Divergence experience, and the rest of our agenda right here in front of you. Now, if you notice also on the right side of your screen, there are flyers for you. If you're interested in any of those programs, feel free to download and click away. So now, just deciding on which program is right for you, we can go ahead and get into that. So again, our 4 immersive programs are about 400 hours each when it comes to learning, right? Just depending on your level, we try and get you into the right program by asking you the right questions. For our cybersecurity professional penetration tester program, it is, beginner to intermediate. So if this is a new path for you and you're not really sure about what you want to get into, this may be the program that we may introduce to you first or recommend for you, especially because it has a lot of information about the foundation of IT networking. Next is going to be our data science immersive program. Again, this one is, beginner to intermediate level as well. When somebody is trying to decide between the two, normally we'll ask them questions like, hey, are you interested in STEM? And if you're interested in, STEM, that may be the program for you. The next one is going to be our security operations management. One thing that draws a lot of people into wanting to get into this program is the certification for CISSP. But if you don't know too much about CISSP, definitely write that down and look into it, because there are certain requirements that you do have to meet before getting it. But yeah, do your research as a technologist, and make sure you're getting the right information. Because if you don't meet all of those requirements, you'll still be issued a certification as long as you pass it. But again, look into that. Now, if you're not into too much of the technical side and you're not ready for a management role, another thing that really draws people to the program is getting into compliance, right? It's extremely important. If your network is somehow connected to the government, you have to be in compliance. And last but not least, I'm a little biased about this, cloud engineering immersive program. I'm always reading people to get into the cloud one way or another, especially because that is pretty much the future of IT, right? Again, beginner to intermediate. Somebody mentions DevOps, right, to me, or wanting to get into like IoT, or just learning more about it. That's a program I would definitely recommend. But again, if you have more questions about which program may be right for you, go ahead and download the information and book an appointment with one of our admission advisors to answer your questions. This is another thing that comes up a lot when, having these conversations with people who are looking to upskill or, just get their foot into IT. And as someone who is trying to help people make the right decisions, it's always certifications that I ask about, right? Not all training providers are the same, and not all certifications have the same weight or value. The reason why I say this is because the certificate of completion does not have the same weight as these certifications here right in front of you. What you see in front of you isn't always what it's going to be now and forever, because the market is always changing. We do change our market or our certifications depending on what's in demand. So sometimes this is how people decide on the program. But again, if you guys have any questions or you want to get into a certain certification, book a time with us so we can go over those questions for you or with you. Okay. So there are a few schedules that are now presented in front of you. The first one that's in front of you, our weekday program. That's Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 6. This is our quote unquote full-time program, meaning that it's 40 hours a week. So 10 weeks, 40 hours, 400 hours total of learning. So that is our first one. The second one is our weekday extended. Our weekday extended is actually 20 weeks, 4 hours a day. So it's Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. So 20 weeks, 20 hours a week, 400 hours total. That's our weekday extended. And last but not least is going to be our weekend program. Usually people that are, have their Monday through Friday job, this would be the better, schedule for you. It's Saturdays and Sundays from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And that one is also 20 weeks long. So you're doing, again, 20 weeks of training, 20 hours in 1 week broken into 2 days. And again, that is 400 hours of our immersive program. So if you have any questions on, what may be the right schedule for you, let us help you figure that out and figure out, which program is going to be next. All right. So now, as far as the admissions process is, Anna is going to come up and talk to you about the admissions process. If you guys have any questions, again, go ahead and book an appointment with us. More than happy to go over your questions. Hey, Anna, are you there?
Hi, Angelica.
Hi. Sorry.
Thanks. So I'll get started now. Hi guys, I'm Anna. I'm the Marketing Operations Specialist here at Divergence. And actually, even though Divergence is located in Texas, I'm actually in New York. I know a lot of you are looking for those careers in tech companies that offer flexibility like remote work and hybrid work. So Divergence is definitely a great place to start if you're looking to both be able to provide for your family and spend time with your family, because they're talking the talk. So I'm going to walk you through the admissions process now, and then after go through some of the funding, okay? So step one, do your research. You've got to be able to do research, first of all, if you want to get into tech. Um, we really need you to figure out what course and what career paths you think are right for you, just so that you have an idea. So do this preliminarily and get an idea of what it is you're looking to do, what kind of jobs are out there, peek LinkedIn, see what kind of careers you might be interested in. Some of you might already know, but remember, our staff are always here to help, which is what brings me to step two, applying. You can apply really easily on our website, and we'll actually drop the link in the chat below. Our admissions team can help you decide which program is best for you if you're still a little undecided. So don't get overwhelmed at the idea of, I'm not ready to apply yet, because we will help you through it and we will help you decide what different options we have are best for you. Now that goes for funding, schedules, and academic expectations as well. We'll go over it all and really simplify it for you. So once you have applied, if everything works out with your application, congrats, you're in. You'll get a personalized acceptance letter. We just need you to sign it and return it, and then we can start the funding process. Again, we'll walk you through all the funding options and we'll help you with the VA. And once your funding is approved, you're ready to go. After this, you're ready to start learning. So before classes even officially start, we'll actually enroll you, or our cyber and data students at least, in what we call a Wookiee course. This is just so that you can dip your toes in the subject matter before class starts and get an idea for what awaits you after orientation begins. So then comes orientation week. We'll set you up with all the passwords and logins and all the information you need for our learning and communications platforms. We'll help you with your Texas Workforce Commission paperwork, and most importantly, we'll connect you with your classmates and your instructors. So all this sounds great, right? So I'm just going to dive a little bit more into the funding. We've got a lot of funding options here at Divergence. I won't go crazy into detail on all of them, but we will have Mayank in the chat later if somebody has some questions. But we have both military and civilian funding options. I'm going to focus mostly on our military benefits because the majority of our student body does have some sort of military background, be it you yourself were in the military or your spouse was in the military and you're eligible for their benefits. So we've got 4 major military benefits, the first of which is VET-TECH. Now, VET-TECH stands for the Veteran Employment Through Technology Education Courses funding method. It is a career-focused program. So what that means is if you are ready to start applying for a job when you're done with Divergence, if you're ready mentally to go and look for that career and start that career, VET-TECH is a great place for you, or a great funding option for you, rather. VET-TECH is available for remote learning, and what's amazing is you're eligible for VET-TECH if you have even just a little bit of the GI Bill left. If you have 1 day left of the GI Bill, you're eligible for VET-TECH. And VET-TECH can be used right now for our CPPT and our DSI courses, so our data science and our cybersecurity professional penetration tester courses, which are also some of our most famous and preferred courses. But stay tuned because everything changes with the VA. So a year from now, VET-TECH could be used for SOMI. You never know. So just stay tuned. Next, we've got the GI Bill. I'm not going to talk your ear off about the GI Bill because that's one of the most famous funding methods, but it's available for remote learning until June. So you better get cracking. And the best part about the GI Bill is that it can be used for any of our immersive programs. So that's why it's a really popular funding method. Next, we've got VR&E, which is the Veteran Readiness and Employment Funding Method. For VR&E, you just need to have a little bit of a disability rating. So if you've got 30% or higher, you're going to qualify. Once you sign up, you'll get assigned a counselor. You'll meet that counselor, let them know what you're looking for. Just let them know that you're looking to attend Divergence. The counselors are also flexible with remote options, especially because if you have a disability rating, you might need that remote option. This is a great option for you because they're really flexible and it's available for remote learning with counselor approval. This is also a career-focused program, so if you're ready to start that career, check out VR&E. VR&E can also be used for any of our immersive courses, so all positives around here. Next, we've got VRAP, which is the Veteran Rapid Retraining Assistance Program. Now, VRAP offers education and training for high-demand jobs to veterans who are unemployed because of the COVID-19 pandemic or who just don't match any of the other funding options available. VRAP is available for remote learning. Even if you don't have the GI Bill, you can qualify. It's career-focused, and it can be used for any of our immersive programs. However, I do suggest that if you are interested in VRAP, you start the process now because it expires on December 12th of 2022. So let's get cracking. Next, we've got our non-military funding methods. So first, we've got ISA, the Income Share Agreement. It's pretty simple. We work with a partner called Leaf. Basically, you just pay $1,000 now, and then you can pay the rest after you land a position with a salary of over $35K, which is definitely the goal. That's definitely what we're striving to get you here after you complete our programs. Next, we've got the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, WIOA. Now, this works for all courses except for SOMI, at least for now. But you have to be located in Texas to be eligible for this. Next, we've got Student Loans with Ascent. Basically, you just sign up for approval, pick one of the 3 monthly repayment options that works for you, and it can be used for any of our immersive programs, remote or in person. However, we have a lot of great things on campus for those of you who want to come in person. Sometimes that can really elevate your experience by just connecting with your student success advisors, with your fellow students, joining in our maker space. So don't knock it till you try it. Next, we've got paying by installments. Very simple. It can be used for any immersive program. Basically, you pay in 3 increments, and it's available for remote learning. There are a lot more intricacies to the funding methods. I'm sure you guys know because I'm sure you've looked at it before. But the amazing thing is our team is here to help you, and we can simplify it 1,000 times over. So really just set up an appointment with us, and we will help you through it. So that's it for funding, but if you have any questions, just ask at the end in our Q&A, and back to you, Angelica.
All great. Awesome. Thank you so much, Anna, for providing that information. So for those of you, again, that are veterans or non-veterans, there are options for you. If you're still unsure, which one may be the better bet to use towards one of our programs, connect with us and, we'll help you. And now we are going to bring one of our student success advisors up here onto the stage. Al is going to go ahead and go over his role and how we help impact the students. All right, Al, hey, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for all attending tonight. It's great to have every single one of you here. Hopefully, some of you will be future students that I can meet in person, online. Either one is just fine with me. I love serving, and I'm really excited to meet a lot of you. A little bit about me. I'm in the Army National Guard, been in since 2013. Infantry, 11 Bravo. If you are one, just put a 1 in the chat. I'd love to see the other ones. I have a background in full stack software engineering. Java is my thing, but I was really into HTML, CSS, so a lot of front end. I graduated through a whole different academy than Divergence, but at the end of the day, I really do understand where you guys are coming from and what you guys are going through. Being able to give back to, number one, the veteran community, and number two, be able to understand the struggles you guys are going through really helped me assimilate into the whole situation and try to see what's going on behind the scenes. So a big part of what we do is the first line of defense for all concerns. That being said, once you're assigned an SSA, such as myself, we pretty much help you with everything from A to Z. You can think of us as your E5 in charge of the E4s and below. We want to make sure that you guys have everything taken care of as far as like talking to leadership and everything going forward. So if you shoot us a call at like 8 p.m. saying, hey, you know, I had a situation with my family, I won't be able to make it to class, you give us a call. If you give us, hey, I want to check on my labs, you know, how am I doing? Give me a rubric for success. Then, hey, we're there for you. Another thing that we do is track student goals and achievements. So kind of circling back to what I said about checking your progress. That being said, I mean, if you're going to have like, well, we're going to sit down with you, we're going to ask, hey, what is it you want to do? Where do you want to be 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 6 months? It goes all the way through, and we see you to the end. You could be just getting your A+. That's perfectly fine. You could go all the way up to Pen Test Plus or get your CISSP or whatever different cert that you want to get, and you want to be working for Lockheed one day. Whatever the case may be, we want to help you get to that point. Another task that we take care of is facilitating one-on-one and group coaching. So we will pull you aside. We're going to check out your resume. We're going to make sure that it's on point, ready to go. You know, these resumes are going to get you a seat at the table, and we want you to eat for sure. But we're also going to talk to you and your cohort as a group, and we're going to make sure that everybody is on the same page about everything, as far as your labs go, as far as attendance goes, as far as like a lot of the workshops that we have. We want to make sure that you guys are there grasping as much information as you possibly can, whenever you can, however you can. So going more into how we help you is networking and communication. So a lot of you may or may not have a LinkedIn. That is huge in this industry. So we want to make sure that your LinkedIn profiles are optimized to the T, that you can talk to all these different recruiters. You know what companies are out there that are looking for you. You're looking for them just as much as they're looking for you. And communication is a huge deal. It's going to be real hard to get you in front of a table if you look really good on paper, and the next thing you know, you go into the interview and end up bombing it. That's not where we want you to be at. So communication is key, not only with the actual companies and industry, but with us. We want to be able to talk to you, make sure that everything goes smoothly as possible as it can. Another deal is we want to fight imposter syndrome. Speaking from personal struggle, when I was going through my cohort, I realized that I had a lot of imposter syndrome going on. I didn't want to raise my hand. I didn't want to ask questions. I thought I was probably the dumbest guy in the room. And little did I know or realize that I wasn't. It was just the fact that everybody else was just as scared as I was, and nobody else wanted to ask questions. However, when I did graduate, I came out with the knowledge and understanding 10 times more than when I came in. I thought I knew computers, like, oh, you use command line here and there, but it took me to a whole different level by the time I graduated. I was ready to go out there, and lo and behold, I ended up with interviews over at Accenture and JP Morgan Chase. But at the end of the day, Divergence had my heart, so here we are today. But moral of the story is, you're going to come out of this knowing 10,000 more things that you thought you were going to learn. I can promise you that. Another deal that SSAs help with is helping to train you in life skills. So that kind of circles right around back to the communication aspect of things. We want to make sure that you guys are 100% okay and comfortable with mock interviews, so we can make sure that you're good to go before you get out there. We want to help you understand what the industry is like. Am I getting lowballed on my offers? Am I getting maybe it's spam, or maybe it's not a real offer? Are you settling for a contract that's going to hurt you in the long run, as opposed to a full-time W-2 job or a contract that's good for you? We want to help you understand and navigate through those pathways of life. So I just want to say once again, thank you guys for all being here. 100% appreciate it. And here is Angelica Ambrose.
All right, thank you for that, Al. And again, there are so many resources here that are available, to the student. The best thing about, being a student or alumni is having the accessibility to the staff here. We provide the tools, so why not use them? Now, speaking of tools and somebody who's extremely knowledgeable about being in the field, we're going to bring up Drew. He's going to go over, the classroom experience with you guys, especially if you're interested in data. So grab your pen and paper and get ready to take some notes.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome, Drew.
Okay. So, we're a program that tries to compress things that I've learned in my 25 years as a data engineer, data analyst, data scientist, and also, dare I say it, also a software executive. I was a CTO of a startup, worked in the leadership of several different startups. And so I not only bring an experience of training since my first job teaching high school chemistry when I was in high school to the classroom, but also, a deep appreciation for the service that y'all have. I have a family that has been in the military since the Mayflower days with Captain John Andrews there. And I also have an uncle that's on the Nam Memorial there. So it's very personal for me to see the growth and the making good on the promises for the military here for your service. So we try to compress within these 10 weeks a very strong program. But in the big picture, the way to look at data science and analytics is that in the body corporate, that most people have just been sort of the muscle or the machinery of the motor skills, if you will. And we try to teach you all of the tools from the nitty-gritty technologies to be able to understand the soft skills of being able to have role playing, like you're actually making presentations to real executives, as a core way of being able to become part of what I would consider as the sensory experience of the body corporate, right? Because nobody can make a decision if nobody knows what's going on. And unless those decisions are grounded in quantitative, unbiased data, but not just that data, but the insights from that core information, then the impact is not going to be certain. And there's risk that you are tasked with the sacred duty of removing. So, most people just think about data science as just SQL, as Python, as the machine learning work, but there's also a lot of overlaps with being able to do things that people have called business intelligence or traditional analytics. And so, in our program, literally each week, we're learning a brand new technology in a lot of ways. SQL Server, Excel, Power BI DAX, Power BI Query, Python, the machine learning processes, and also getting into big data, and then also this great Power Platform. We've had 3 students in the last 90 days that have averaged a median, or I should say a mean salary of $115K from combining their experience in Power Platform and SQL and some of their web skills that are brought in to be able to springboard their career. So, whether you come in as someone who's a seasoned tech, who's already done some actual technology, some sort of coding, or whether you start with a fresh start. I mean, I have half a dozen students right now that I've been working with that had 0 IT experience, and I've got one that's been able to be placed in the top 50 in a Kaggle training exercise using the simple regression set of algorithms just from pure grit and being able to extrapolate from the lessons in class there. So you will be experiencing a lot of very strong learning curves, very steep, but you are not alone. We try to run the class using the exact same tools, and with the capstone experience, being able to just essentially generate a portfolio. So there's 0 question when you go to apply for a LinkedIn job on what you can do, and that we try to make sure that you actually have the exact same experience as you would as a day-to-day data analyst, data engineer, data scientist, or analytic applications developer, depending on which of those kind of 4 roles within the data science umbrella that you choose to pursue. So it's a very we called it a 21st century one-room classroom. Every cohort is different as far as the mix up of how much time we spend on things, depending on how people come in with their backgrounds and how we are able to accommodate them and make sure that they're not only deliver the material, but they're actually able to synthesize it to be able to make it real and make it stick. So we bend over backwards to be able to make sure that your success is our success. We're very proud that we have an over 80% placement within the first 90 days of graduation into internships or other analyst programs where you're able to become into a professional role, even if you had no analytic experience prior. So it's a great opportunity to be able to springboard into many new roles, really be able to, just as a show of hands, how many of you are really interested in being able to have an impact on your organization, right? To know that your work matters, right? So in that perspective, you can guarantee that if you are the person between the decision makers table and any of the real world IT complexity, you are going to be the shaman, if you will, going into that infinite complexity and being able to bring back the sacred messages from the truth to be able to interpret it to your executives there. So there's a lot of responsibility to make sure that you're unbiased. There's a lot of technical bars that you have to be able to make. But again, it is something that we have a repeatable formula. I've taught hundreds of students at Divergence, and I've taught hundreds more previous in other roles as far as people that have never been in machine learning before. I've got about a third of my students coming out of this latest class that are going to be using machine learning in their capstone program, their capstone projects. So it is possible to learn this from nothing. But if you're coming in already as a coder, then I'm going to expect to see some really good work from you to be able to push yourself to be able to get as far as you can. I'm still looking for some students to look at deep learning, but I'm always looking to try to get a team together to do some Kaggle competitions and make some real money on the side here. So I certainly welcome you all to the program. I certainly love to have an audience to be able to talk about my varied skills and experiences over my time between Microsoft and AMD and Pepsi and AT&T and 5 different startups that I have over my career, to be able to give you a very broad idea of what to expect and also what to expect from yourself there. So I really hope that some of you take a look at the program and see something that sparks your curiosity, because we prepare you for a lifetime of learning in the analytic spheres. And it's a domain that I think that you will find a lot of intellectual and emotional satisfaction being able to deliver. So appreciate you all attending. Hope to see some of you in my next cohort. And thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Drew. That was extremely insightful, and I have a lot of Googling to do, obviously. But how do we ensure you're career ready? Career ready is probably the most important part of getting you guys into the field once you complete training. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Ashley up here onto the stage. She's part of our Career and Placement Services. She's also a student success advisor, extremely involved, in helping guide students in the best way possible. But again, she's going to go ahead and talk to you about, how we help our students and alumni continuously be ready for the workforce. Hey, Ashley.
Thank you, Angelica. Hi.
You're welcome.
Hi, everybody. Again, I am Ashley Blue. I am the Student Success Advisor that's assigned to the Career Services Department. A little bit about myself. My professional background started off in corporate. I was a credit analyst. From there, I have a background in nonprofit management and also entrepreneurship. So a kind of diverse background. I actually was in your shoes back in 2020. My husband decided to separate from the military. So we were both super stressed and overwhelmed and underwater on trying to define what our new career goals would be. Like, where do we fit in the civilian workforce? It was super stressful and, like I said, overwhelming. But fast forward to now and doing something that I love to do, I really, really enjoy getting to help learners smoothly transition into what they want to do into tech. So, to tell you a little bit more about what Career Services actually does, we are basically the ones that catapult you into having the confidence to apply for those positions that you are more than capable of doing. And so we do that in various different ways. First, we have one-on-ones with you, either in a small group or just you individually, to learn a little bit more about who you are as a person, what your personality is like, what your interests are, what your goals are, so that we can better align a roadmap to help you get to where you want to go into tech. Then from there, we have some more in-depth career development training, which involves resume building, which we dive really, really deep into, interview prep, utilizing the network that you all already have, and also polishing your LinkedIn, which is something that Al touched on a little bit. These are really, really important things that need to be like polished out so that you can have the confidence to present yourself to recruiters during these job interviews. And so after going through these in-depth trainings, we actually give our learners the opportunity to put their knowledge to the test and participate in a virtual career fair that our department hosts quarterly. This is my favorite event that we host, and it actually gives you guys the opportunity to practice your elevator pitch, learn how to meet face-to-face virtually or in person, and actually engage with recruiters from different companies. We have a broad range of companies. You could be speaking to someone who is a rep for a small tech startup all the way to AWS or Google Recruiter. And it's a really big deal. And some learners have actually received job offers from these virtual career fairs. So it's an amazing experience and just a way for them to actually put into practice what they've been learning from our department. And so overall, just our main mission and goal in career services is to really give you all the confidence that you need to apply for these positions, shed light and uncover the skills that you already have that you may not even be aware of, and really just be your cheerleader in the stands and let you know that you are more than capable to do what you desire in the tech industry. So that's what we're here for, and I absolutely love doing it, and I hope to get to work with some of you all in the future. And I'll give it back to you, Angelica.
Okay, so we have talked a bunch about programs. We've introduced you to advisors from each department. A lot of information within the data portion. So hopefully, we've done enough to explain to you guys why choose Divergence. But if you guys still have questions, that's okay. We can book an appointment with you, or actually you can book it with us, and we'll get your questions answered. And here's, just a few more reasons of how Divergence separates itself from, our other training providers. So, here at Divergence, our main mission, is to get people into the industry. It doesn't matter what your background is, especially if you're a veteran, right? You don't have to identify with your job code for the rest of your life. It doesn't matter what you did, in the civilian side. If you have even the smallest amount of interest in IT, the goal is to get you the confidence to, go after those roles because they're open and they provide so many benefits for people, right? Like longevity within the workforce, stability, always room for growth, always something to learn, emerging technology, right? So helping our learners, get certified, be confident in the skills that they learn, and make these connections is extremely important. So that's our mission, right? But also on top of that, it's not about how many people we enroll. It's not about how many people we get to graduate from a program. What matters to us is actually helping our students get placed. That's actually our number one metric here at Divergence Academy. And with that being said, if you are a veteran, you are interested, in vet tech, if you are not familiar with the term, preferred provider, what that means is Divergence is going to help you get a job. It's not just one of those things, where, okay, hey, thank you for coming. Here's your certificate of completion. Now it's definitely more than that. The goal is to get you into the industry, aligned to the programs that you are in. All right, so that's how we measure success. Another thing to look into, right, when you are looking into the training providers, right, trusted sources. We are a school that is backed by the Texas Veterans Commission. We're also backed by, the Department of Labor. When it comes to the certifications, again, it does matter, what kind of certifications you guys are obtaining, especially if you are using, your VA benefits or even your hard-earned money. This thing, it does matter. Okay. Again, certificate of completion does not have the same value as industry certifications. On top of that, our instructors are actually trained by these companies, so CompTIA or ISC squared, right? Our training providers or our instructors, they've gone through the process to be certified by those companies. Now, the last two, just to go over, many of you are, very familiar, with the media. Divergence Academy was actually one of the top coding schools of 2021, according to Newsweek. And also, if you're not familiar with, that number 556 out of 500,000 or 5,000 companies out there in 2021, Divergence was actually ranked 556. All right, so on a scale that's pretty high up there. So again, do your research on your schools and make sure that they are backed by trusted resources. Now, I have a lot to say about who we're about to bring up on stage. This is a very special event because we do have, people that are not usually here to, be an advisor. But tonight, we are introducing one of our most recent alumni. I had the pleasure of meeting him in person. Hey, Elvis. Good.
Hi, how's it going,
Are you ready?
Angelica?
All right.
Yes, I'm ready. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Elvis Barahona. I recently pretty much retired so this month from the Army. But about 2 years ago, I decided to go into the IT career. And I was doing my research in companies and training through the vet tech and Veterans Affairs stuff. And I found Divergence Academy. And I booked an appointment with Angelica, as a matter of fact, about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And she answered all the questions that I have about the certifications, how to get the certifications, all the training that Divergent had. And I decided to go with them. I think that was one of the best choices I took in the past 2 years. And so far, the training that I've been through allow me to get mostly all the certifications I will need right now. I reached the point that I have multiple certifications, and I'm looking into the bigger certifications at this point. So if you have any questions, we can wait until the Q&A, and then I'll be glad to answer all the questions you have for me. Thanks. I'll go back to Angelica for now.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Elvis. Again, Elvis is one of the most memorable students I've probably come across, especially because I got to meet him in person. Great conversation, extremely hard worker, self-started. I could say I could go on and on. So we're going to bring all the advisors up back on here to the stage, go over some Q&A. Looks like we have about 10 minutes. So once we have everybody up here, we'll go ahead and address your guys' questions. All right. So, looks like this is for you, Elvis. What certs did you obtain while you were a student at Divergence?
I have my Pentest Plus now, and my certified ethical hacker, and I believe the training I got put me through. I received the certificate, certified ethical hacker training, but I was not ready to take the test until I finished the Divergence training. And when I finished the Divergence training, it gave me the confidence and the knowledge to actually go ahead and take the test. And I got my certification. I also got my Pentest Plus from all the training I received in Divergence. So far, I have Network Plus, Security Plus. I got CCNA from Cisco and Certified Ethical Hacker. And I'm working on my CISSP as well right now in Server Plus.
See, I told you a lot of good things to say, but Elvis, you rocked it. Now, another question for you is, how much time did you actually spend studying, for your certifications and during the course?
Yes, that's one of the things that I like about Divergence training. It is a dynamic training. It's not dry. It's not just like grabbing a book, read, and try to pass a test. The training requires a little bit of commitment and time, right? You will have a lot of material for all the certifications, and then you'll be like, you're going to feel overwhelmed. But the more time you spend on the practical exercises and the more time you spend asking questions to instructors, because they're great. The instructors are great. They're always there. Even after when the course is over, you can send them a chat and ask the questions. They will actually get you the right answers, right? So I'll say I took the full-time course, right, for the pen test. And after the course, I took a couple hours, maybe 2 or 3 hours afterwards, just to complete all the labs. There is some labs that they're mandatory in order to graduate from the course. But if you want to get all the experience, like real world experience, you will have to apply yourself and try to finish 100% of the labs, because that's when you learn. You get your hands on, and it's on your own pace and time. And what I like about Divergence is they use the actual CompTIA official training certification guides and everything. So it all depends. Some people learn faster than others. Yeah.
That's definitely true. Yeah. How hard is it? Go ahead.
All right. So how hard is to get the certificates? It is quite hard, right? But it's not impossible, right? So I will say it all depends what certification you're going through, right? Or which certification you're aiming for. So if you try to aim for Pentest Plus, which is the highest certification Divergence will have in the professional pen test, that one is tough. It's really tough. In order to pass, I had to read the book twice, and I went through the material one time, and I was not sure to take the test until I managed to score at least 90% or above in all the practical tests. And when I finished that, I said, yes, I'm ready, right? So it took me quite a while to read those books, the Pentest Plus. And the amount of difficulty is depends on the actual course that you're going through. Some people think Cloud Plus is easier, than Network Plus. Some people think Network Plus is easier than Security Plus, and so on and so on. But it all depends, and you're not going to find out until you go through the courses and you get with the instructors, and they will, they will guide you specifically. What do you think is going to be best for you? What are you aiming for? If you're aiming for cloud and cloud computer, of course, you're going to have to study cloud a little bit harder than regular networking.
Awesome. And
Yeah,
that
no
you,
question.
you are spot on about it. Yeah, it just depends. And it's something you do have to apply yourself for. But the help is here. Even the labs help tie in all the questions. It's not, just, death by PowerPoint, right? But as for the next question, is the program calendar accurate? Honestly, it kind of just depends. The best way to engage how the calendar works is to speak to our admissions, because things do change. If we have interest in a cohort and a certain number of people that are ready, to start, but that date isn't on the calendar, we can usually add it to the calendar. But again, go ahead and book a time with us and we can go over that with you. And then also as for, VRAP and VetTech, VRAP and VetTech do cover the cost of the exams for the courses. And vouchers for certifications are included with the tuition. And that number is usually up to 4, just depending on the program. And again, we can definitely go over that information with you, let you know what your options are. So for instance, in the pen testing program, there's 6 courses that you could go into, Server Plus, Linux Plus, Cloud Plus, Pentest Plus, Network Plus, Security Plus, right? And you'll get up to 4 vouchers, but you do have to pass these tests in order to, get your certification. So if you can pick and choose which ones you want, I'm more than welcome to. We'll also add, 6 months after graduation for you to request those vouchers. And as long as that version of the exam doesn't expire, you usually have about 1 year to take the exam. But again, look that stuff up to make sure, your timing is right. Okay. Any other questions we have? Nope. All right. Okay. Let's see. Well, if there's no other questions, hold on 1 second. Okay. How many? Okay. Employers we are connected with. There are a lot of employers, that we are connected with. Awesome, Walter. We're connected with a lot of employers. I'd say, preferred employers is usually about 30 to 60, but connection-wise, it's up there in the hundreds. But it's just up to you. When it does come time, you feel like you are ready for placement, submit the help ticket. And what's going to happen is there's going to be a screening process, because we do have to, make sure that we are able to vet for you guys and back for you guys when we do talk to these hiring managers and recruiters. So as long as you do your due diligence of, doing your learning, making sure that, we can help you in taking advantage of all of these benefits, the better the outcome. All right. And how much time can we receive for individual mentorship from our instructors? Al, you want to take that away? Or Drew?
Yes, absolutely. So how much time will you receive with individual mentorship from your instructors? You can receive pretty much an unlimited amount of attention from us, as long as you let us know that whatever the situation can handle, pretty much. So just speak to us whenever it is, whatever the situation is, we're gonna work with you on it, especially on the professional side of things. Come and talk to us. If it's your resume, we're gonna get your resume fixed up. If you want to have a nightly mock interview, we can do that. If you got something coming up, then we're going to get you prepared no matter what the situation is. So really, it's on a case-by-case basis. We actually had a meeting earlier. We were talking about how students really don't need too much attention, but others need quite a bit. And it's really just the demand of the student. Whatever the student wishes to happen is how much effort we're going to put forth and make sure that you guys get the best that you can possibly get from us. And as far as the actual instructor portion goes, I think Drew might be able to handle this one a little better than I.
Oh, you're muted, Drew. Hey, Drew, we can't hear you. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Bingo.
Okay, sorry about that. So how much time any student gets one-on-one is really their choice. I would say that in general, as far as the ratio of time to of demos and instruction versus lab time is about 50-50. We're moving closer to about 30-70 as far as 70% where people are doing group or individual exercises per week to make sure that things stick a little bit better. But certainly, if a more seasoned group comes in where they've got, more sort of bandwidth to be able to, or a wider mouth for the fire hose, so to speak, then, we may get up to, 60-40 the other way. But, to give you an example, I had one student who's now employed as a software engineer directly, who had just been doing business analysts and kind of training stuff before the program. And he had a great idea for for 2 startups, actually. And, he knew Visual Basic, but not that much about Python, but he had a really heavy web scraping project. And we were spending probably 10 hours a week, just me and this one student, trying to do real debugging. And that's certainly the extreme case. I would say that most people will probably end up spending, in the first half of the class, maybe about an hour to an hour and a half a week as far as one-on-one. But you got to remember that anytime that we're not in session, you can just, you can just either put something on the chat and I'll respond immediately. So a lot of times, I don't really keep track of how many times people just ask me questions that I can just type and be able to answer, because, ideally, when you go into the real world, sometimes you're a distributed team, and that's how you manage things with your tech leads anyway. So, it's really as much attention as you need. But remember that I can only help where I know that there's a problem. And part of the unlearning process that I find with adult students, particularly from the military background, is that there's this vanity of silence that is antithetical to the sort of scholarly and critical view, right? We are teaching you to be the bullshit detectors, if you'll pardon my French, of the executive team, right? Some people you can be upfront with them. Some people you have to couch the fact that they're fooling themselves into language that they can understand, so you can make it their idea, right? And so, I encourage students to over communicate their needs, because and to ask questions, because they are going to learn more. And I found that a lot of times people will say, hey, thank you for asking that question, because I was lost too. And so, you can't really grow if you're not interacting a lot of times, because these are very tough concepts. And, sometimes it's easy to miss one approach to talk about them, and taking a second step on the same concept can make it a lot easier. So, I know it's a little bit longer question of an answer for the question that you may be looking for, but, I want to, the one of the strengths of the program is that, my only metric is your placement, right? Your success is Divergent's success. And, we will bend over backwards to make sure that this is something that you can synthesize and be able to, face the gauntlet of an interview and be successful. So.
I got something to tell everybody here. So if you feel like that this is going to be too difficult because you never deal with IT, I think you don't have to worry about it. During these courses, there's people with different levels of experience. Some people have zero experience whatsoever, and some people have some experience. But at the end of the course, you will be like 100% more prepared to deal with IT issues than you ever been before. So I do recommend this course, and if I had to do it again, I would. So go for it.
Awesome.
To kind of piggyback off of what Elvis said, I went into my education with learning and knowing a little bit of a computer background, but I can tell you, I thought Java was a coffee. I had no idea that it was a whole computing language. Had no idea what SQL was when that finally came around. And before you know it, within 20 weeks, which is about how long mine was, created a whole pretty much bank account, a whole banking system with minimal effort. And it's outstanding, the transformation that you're going to go through. So I can promise you, if a guy like me can do it, you're going to be just fine. I promise.
This was great. A lot of really good insight you provided. You guys, thank you so much, for putting your questions out there. I know we did run a little bit over time, but if you guys have any more questions, here are ways that you can connect with us. Feel free to add us on LinkedIn. If you guys want to drop your LinkedIn, the advisors, if you guys want to drop your LinkedIn so they can connect with you, you're welcome to do that. But LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, especially if those of you are interested in pen testing or any type of cybersecurity, every other Friday, you can hit up our Twitch channel. And one of our instructors is going to go ahead and go over with you, what's going on. Now, moving on from how you can engage with us as well, we do have 3 types of ways to do that: hybrid, on campus, and virtual. Our hybrid environment, Elvis actually participated in our Capture the Flag event. Extremely exciting to see. I got off my bike and I sat right in front of my TV to watch what everybody was doing. As far as our on-campus event, we have a makerspace, so feel free to come and join us over on the Divergence campus. Just search us up. We're over in Addison, Texas. You'll be able to meet with our staff. And last but not least, again, our virtual events with Logan, one of our cybersecurity professional penetration tester instructors. He is going to lead Hackers Corner. Again, he is going to hold events just like Capture the Flag, going to be moderating. You don't know what you're looking at. He is a great person to drop all the golden nuggets for you guys. All right. So again, thank you guys for joining us. My name is Angelica, your host for tonight's Meet the Advisor event. Thank you again for joining us, and we hope you had a lot to learn. And if you guys have any questions, don't forget to book an appointment with us. Have a great evening. Bye.
Thank you.